I'll begin with clearing with the selenite. And I'm going to do a bit of an explanation as to why the change of the backdrop for today. It has a lot to do with what came through in the meditation coming in. There's been a lot of conflict, if you will, like you're having to make a lot of decisions on the fly using your discernment, and at times it feels like maybe there's a sense of injustice almost in what you're being thrust into to make discernment decisions upon. Possibly in like your dream space as well as in synchronicities throughout the day. So let's see what the guardians, the guides, the divine, the ancestors, what really is your spirit team wanting to come through for the collective today. We'll begin with the you know, it's called the woman in total control of herself, but you know, like it doesn't necessarily have to be female. Oh boy, okay, so those two came out. Oh, it's just one. I thought it was two. Okay. So, the judge. That's apt, right? Okay, so this is kind of the overall, what's coming through for you guys here, and what you need to know about this moment, this point, this deciding factor. Now, this particular deck is going to be coming from more of the higher self, higher realm. This is more like 3D Gaia based. So it's definitely impacting your 3D experience. Definitely. Okay, one more. Okay. All right. Okay, so then we have the King of Pentacles for the higher self, clarifying this here. All right. Okay, well, they want to go with this. Okay. So we'll do just a couple of free-flowing here with these. Wow, look at that. Okay, so it's decisions. So many options, but I mean, clearly there's one cup that's overflowing with water. That's where is that coming from, right? Like maybe there's a pump in there or something. Like it's clear which cup is desired. Okay. And the 10 of Cups. We'll do one more here, maybe two. Because there's a conflict here that you're having to make a judgment upon. Okay. Page of Wands. Having fun painting the future, your world, the overlapping of the two circles. Okay, so this is telling me that what you're perceiving to be a tough decision, having to pass judgment upon something, is really something very positive. Okay, so what is the conflict here? What is the conflict? Why are we sitting on this judgment throne? Imagine it's possible that you're having to pass judgment on a King of Pentacles. Possibly, because he is looking to her. Okay. Okay. Ooh, we got two here. Okay, so we have the Scholar and the Predator. Okay, so what's in conflict here is you're a student who's been learning how to cope with Predator energy, how to work with it, how to overcome that, how to be grounded and centered within self within that. And this is in the physical more so. So that is the challenge. Okay. So what do we have coming in here? This is, the higher self is saying that this has been co-manifested, that this is something that may or may not have to do with another individual. If it's related with this King of Pentacles, it's you and this King of Pentacles, or you and this assertive, abundant, in the physical aspect energy. This is more receptive because it's a feminine figure, but please feel free to invert the gender terminology, as you know, the gender label, as you see fit, because there's really no gender in these readings. It's all about energy. So when you see a feminine figure, or I say feminine, feel free to substitute it with receptive if you don't want to use a gender label. It's just too important to get hung up on that when it's about energy. The energy is what's being highlighted. Okay, so what do we need to know in specific here? What kind of synchronicities can we have come out? I do want to highlight that these cards all came up upright. They all came up upright. This particular deck, I have inverted cards in there on purpose, intentionally. Okay, so Judgment. Okay, so also in the upright, Queen of Wands. We get one or two more here. Okay. Woo! Wow, that one's really important. Okay, here we go. All right, now when I picked it up like this, but it landed like that. I think. No, it did. It landed like that. Oh, it's meant to come out that way, I guess. Either way, everything's upright right now. This might be something that's, you know, personal, possibly. It's a little more unique to each individual tuning in tonight, or today, or this afternoon. This particular thing is telling me that you're getting help from your higher self, which makes sense. It's your future self. But depending on how much assistance, aid you need to overcome any aversion you have to getting any, you know, intuitive information in that leads to you owning how much power you have with like a sense of playfulness, levitating, kind of being above it all a little bit, just kind of having a bit of fun. It kind of, you may be holding your higher self a little bit more in your physical form in order to fully overcome this. Realize your Empress energy in the physical and be celebrated in the physical, not just in the spiritual or the higher levels of awareness. Okay, so what's the solution here? How does the collective, like, what advice do we have for the collective to kind of aid them in achieving their highest timeline, you know, ideally allowing their higher self to be in their own timeline, so that the current incarnation in this moment can remain predominantly within their own. Goddess of Grace. Now this is a pretty rich in symbolism card. So you're connected to the Trinity within self with the three faces here. You are open to any kind of are you open to, that's the question, are you open to assertive energy coming in, assertive messages coming in through divine, as well as receptive? Are you open to the presence of divine within both sides of yourself? And when you're approaching a situation that is causing you to use discernment, how harshly are you judging yourself? Because you're one of the many petals of this lotus. All of you is a unique reflection of the whole self. But you're this particular petal. So are you ready to just slam the door on yourself? Or are you, like initially, or are you ready to be a little more compassionate? All right, we're going to get some clarifiers on this, because that can apply in so many situations. The concept is to practice something similar to the Buddhist concept or mudra of Karana, which is to be open and receptive to giving and receiving, but have boundaries. Have healthy boundaries so you're not taken advantage of. I think the phrase is, suffer no fools. Okay. So we have the Eight of Wands. So this is communication from the higher self coming in, or from spirit. Okay, I'm kind of being led to use a bit of a different deck here. Okay. And it's possible we might end up with more than one of the same card here. So this is the memory of what once was and what could be again. So this could be about something that's reoccurring in your life, a relationship, a dynamic. The memory of how it was when it was good, when times were good, the innocence, the comfortability. Like, they're not necessarily even looking at each other here. They're just at ease, just in their own little worlds, but with one another. Okay, so that would be the cup aspect. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then we have an inverted Ten of Pentacles. So this is possibly something that currently is versus what was. The memory versus where you feel things are now. You don't feel in the physical like abundance is part of your world yet. Now, I'm particularly hearing that come through as more of like money, financial abundance. There is abundance of love, there's abundance of connection, there's abundance of wisdom, there's abundance of knowledge, all of which can be present within the physical. But this particular aspect is speaking to money. Okay, if I'm not getting another one, I'm going to assume that there's not another one coming through, even though I sense there's a lot more whew, behind this. Oh my goodness. Okay. So if they fall, they need to be looked at here. Okay. So we have the Nine of Pentacles, Page of Wands that came out on its side, the Two of Cups, and Justice. So pretty much like what I'm getting here with this is there's a feeling of not being in this state. This is where the disharmony is. This is where you're like, but how can I recognize this when this is what I'm experiencing? I remember this, but this is my current reality. How can I own that I'm this? when I'm here. This is like the Empress in Training card. Like, how can I own that when this is where I'm at? And, you know, I want to have fun and I want to have this co-creation realized, but there's a sensation of justice has not been served. I am not, like, you are not seeing this in your physical reality. So how do you move beyond this? How do you make that leap from having all that you could possibly get in the 5D, the intuition, your connection with divine, your sense of what is right and true in that aspect of yourself, and yet be experiencing something that is not that in your physical reality, and the feeling that justice is not served, even though you want to have a positive experience, a new beginning, a new reemergence of this. So okay, so we have star being healing codes. Oh, I can't even blah. Star being healing codes. Wow. Sometimes that happens when I have conflicting multiple energies trying to help me speak at once. Important information, wounds are healed, recharging. So this is supposed to be some kind of a time of reset. Like, don't throw in the towel yet. Give it a little time. Allow yourself to pull in this healing, and you will see this justice. And you will see this 10 of Pentacles and this 9 of Pentacles energy flip. So that everything that you are being led to understand is real and true and coming with your intuition, you know it actually is, because it's starting to match your physical experience. Okay, so we'll pull a little more on that, possibly in another reading, and extended, if you guys are interested, because I feel we could really dive into that. What is the outcome here if we follow this? Please wait. Please do not just use the sword like right away, right now. Give it some time. What is the most likely outcome for the collective here if the collective does give it some time? Oh boy. Okay. All right. We got 4 of them. Okay. Oracle really wanted to speak. Okay. So we have Wing Leader, which this one has a lot to say here in and of itself. It speaks again to this receptive energy, to assertive energy, and all the different ways in which they intermingle and mix, and having to decide, like, where are you willing to accept certain things along that spectrum, and where are you not? When is it too much of being out of balance, or is it too heavy and assertive or too heavy and receptive, depending on the situation? Because if you're too receptive to being in an unhealthy dynamic, that's toxic to you. If you're experiencing yourself just possibly you just want to do, and you're burning yourself out, that's too much assertive energy. So it's finding that balance of the middle path, and many other energies. Like, you have Pegasus, you have a unicorn here. I'm thinking that's a really, really large raven, and you have an angel. I mean, and it's all above everything. The bigger picture, like, all of these energies are learning from you. You are meant, like, what you're doing, many are learning from you. Okay, Spider Woman. Now, this one, the positive way to read this is that let it come to you. You collect all this information, you invest all this time in your manifestation on your side, and when it is time, what is meant for you will come to you. A more like there is somewhat of a negative aspect to this, in that you have to use your discernment with what does come to you. Is it really what you manifested, or is it meant to test you, to trick you, to allow you to use all this knowledge that you've gained of this predator energy? And this could be from, you know, your whole life. You've been learning different aspects of which things just didn't feel right. They didn't feel fair. They didn't feel balanced. You felt very clearly in your body that things were not as they should be. So these things that come to you while you're building this manifestation, they may be meant to be like, are you sure this isn't the manifestation? Are you sure this isn't right? Are you sure? Are you sure? And you have to develop that discernment. So it could be a validation that you have developed that, because you do write your own story. Now, that doesn't mean that some of the characters in your story are going to play their roles, such as, you know, like the protagonist versus, you know, like some of the other roles, the supporting roles for the lead, which is you throughout your life. Like, you're the star of your own story. How do you want to write your character? And when you write your character, you can determine how the other characters, the options available to them from that point forward. Like, write your own story, like those books, right? Where you can, I choose this one, and then you go to a whole nother like set of possible outcomes as a result. It's very similar to that. And it has to do with that discernment and why you choose, that leads you to basically be teaching many through the decisions that you've made. And the decisions that you made, you've learned from failures that, you know, like, hey, that didn't go well. Maybe I won't do that next time. Or, you know, I really like this, but that part I would like to maybe tweak if this occurs again. All of these, this is like the trial and error card here. Trial and error, and you're supported and you're helped along this journey with your guides and guardians, with your spirit team, really. So it's possible that you are being affirmed that you have made the right decision. The right decision in that you are securing these energies. But you're not so sure because it's so out of balance in the physical with what you're getting intuitively. Okay, so the higher self here, we're going to grab 2 just because there's so many cards here. So we have an upright 10 of Pentacles. So it inverts this, or it flips the 10 of Pentacles inverted over here. And then the Page of Pentacles. So this is definitely spirit team. There's many different energies, possibly some individuals that haven't come into your life yet, some that you know that have been manifesting this, that have been playing their role, making their decisions in their supporting role in your story to give you the options that have allowed you to make these decisions as you write your own role. And this is a student card. Definitely, there's been a lot of studying present within, okay, so what worked, what didn't work. All right. So you've been learning. So, we're going to grab 2 and 2. So for this side, let's grab 2 of these here. Okay, so connected with Gaia, grounded, your heart's open, you are listening to the source, the universe. We have the Ten of Pentacles as well. This is the symbol of the soul tree, the tree. I want to say the soul tree. I know there's some more. I know the name of it. I know it. I know it. I just can't think of it right now. And there's a reason for that. Either way, there's abundance in soul, in family, in connection with other individuals, in a community. And there's just like this like kind of whimsical aspect, like a carefree feel, because you're not necessarily worrying about the bills. Everything's covered. You could be present in the moment without needing to have some part of your mind going, oh my gosh, what do I want to do with that? Okay. And this is developing that discernment, preparing for the manifestation, and using that discernment as to what comes in is, you know, if it's actually what you are manifesting, and that learning. There's the co-creation, the connection with source. Yet again, it's an affirmation that the dissonance will be mirrored in the physical soon. All right. And we'll get 2 for this side. Okay, and we have the King of Pentacles inverted. Seems to me that your King of Pentacles is aware, this assertive, you know, physical abundance energy is aware that you're like, hey, this is not matching up, buddy. And you know, if you want the kudos for all of it, you need, like, I need it to be present all across the board. I need to see it in the physical. So there's an acknowledgement of that. Okay. And then we have karma. So this is also a card that speaks to destiny, contract, fulfillment of that contract. It's a triple manifestation here. So, okay, so it's like the inner Trinity. So like maiden, mother, crone kind of a deal. So it's a contract within self. I guess I'm just supposed to grab one more here. Oh. And we have the Queen of Pentacles kind of fall like this. So you're in the process of starting to kind of maybe be open to the concept of, you know, all right, well, okay. If you say it's coming in, it's coming in. Maybe I'll hold my breath here and not grab the sword, but hold on to the cup. Ooh, that hopped right in my lap here. And the Page of Pentacles, inverted. This is telling me that you're not supposed to make the offer. You're supposed to be in a receptive state to receive what's coming in. So you're not supposed to be assertive, affirming the Spider Woman oracle card here, that you are to just kind of be preparing and be receptive to the manifestation coming in. And part of that is definitely getting some of these things to come in more in the physical, to allow you to be like, okay, like it's actually got some momentum now. It's not just going to be something I'm manifesting in the higher realms. It's starting to affect the more denser experience of the reality here. So, yeah, so I'll just speak on this a little bit here. During this time, it might be to your advantage to spend some time outside, to meditate, to take some time for you to just really fill your own cup. If you feel like taking a nap, take a nap. If you can, do it. If you want that extra like cup of hot cocoa, or you want to buy that chocolate, you know, it's a natural antidepressant. It's got a chemical in it that kind of mimics the same chemical release that we have when we were falling in love. We're going to grab a couple of these here. These are the Empath Oracle deck here. Spend some time looking up into the stars. That whole, you know, when you look into the abyss looks back into you. You find yourself contemplating yourself. And that puts you in an open space to reflect upon your emotions and learn from them. That they are all connected. They are interrelated. They are natural. They are healthy. And they are pretty powerful for manifesting. So it's worthwhile diving into those emotions. Now, there's something to be said for being overwhelmed and needing to let things settle to unpack these emotions. As you could see here, there's a little more brown here in, like, the whole thing is filled in with brown. And then it starts to get a little more blue the further out you go. So it tells me that, you know, there'll be some working through of that, clearing of that out a little bit as you go through this process. I'll grab one more here to just kind of support this, because we pretty much understand what's going on in the reading. It's more of a, how do we remain in this state for, you know, I'm not really sure how much time, because it will vary depending on the individual. It could be a couple weeks to a couple months. Maybe you're just starting this awareness. Maybe it's going to be a while, and it all depends upon the decisions you make and the decisions that others make as well. However, being that everything that's going on with our sun and the earth right now, I would imagine that it may have something to do with this time where there's so much fluctuation. So much fluctuation. Okay, this is a pretty charged one. And I think that a lot of people that are sensitive, I know that I've been here a time or two, and this card has been a reality check. There is this all-seeing eye, right? So the divine is with you. The divine does see you. You are never actually, you're never alone. And you know that. You know that. You sense that. Deep down inside, you sense that you're not alone. But the need to practice this karana, this like being willing to give and receive, but having that boundary is vital, so that you do not find yourself feeling taken advantage of, feeling victimized by your spiritual connection, by your intuition. It's really important that you take time to understand when that occurs in you, so you can start to develop a boundary that stops it from getting to that point. And that's simple with the beginning is to say, no, I'm not open to this right now. I'm not receptive to this energy right now. That's the first thing. Maybe it's because it's time for you to go to bed. Maybe it's because of that. Maybe it's something as simple as that. And in time, if not immediately, depending on your, you know, relationship with your spirit team, that will be respected. That will be maintained. That will be reinforced. All right. Thank you very much for tuning into today's collective reading. The divine within me honors the divine within you. And I'm very, very grateful to be the channel through which these messages reach you. Namaste.